This is Christian Gomez with the New American Magazine, and on the show with us today is a pro-life activist, Lizzie. Thank you for joining us today on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Christian. Excited to be here.
So for those that are watching out there that are not familiar with the situation in Wisconsin, we had Governor Tony Evers issued a emergency order to stay at home, the so-called safer at home order, which has, of course, put millions of Wisconsinites out of work and stuck at their homes unless they are essential workers. Now, Lizzie, I understand that this order has specifically affected you and your family. Can you discuss how this order has affected your family's health with regards to certain medical facilities being closed at this time?
Yeah, so I have four family members that suffer from Lyme disease, and all four of them are receiving treatment from a clinic nearby. And that clinic actually closed, and we're not exactly sure why because it is a medical clinic, but they closed. So my family has been unable to receive treatment for Lyme disease for over 8 weeks now, which is
Wow.
huge for their health. Very damaging, actually.
So are they able to make phone calls, or there's no way they can actually go inside and receive the medical treatment and any kind of medications that they need at this time?
Yeah, so the treatment my family is getting, they're getting a UV light treatment for the Lyme disease, which will kill the bacteria. And you have to be in clinic to get that treatment. You can't get any medication for that. And another type of treatment they've been getting is a brain type of treatment where it really helps with the chemical balance in their brain with the Lyme disease that is settled there, and they're not able to get that as well. So while we're able to keep in contact with them, and they can refer some sort of supplements, the actual treatment that has been allowing them to live mostly normal lives has just completely stopped. So whereas we can call them, they could try to help, none of the things that have been working for us we have access to anymore.
And with the governor's extension of the stay-at-home order through May 26th and possibly beyond, hopefully not, but possibly, it's uncertain whether when your family can resume treatments at this time. Are the doctors taking appointments for June, or are they waiting to see what happens?
So we actually got an email a couple weeks ago when my mom reached out. She had an intense Lyme disease attack, and we reached out and said, "Hey, we really need this UV light treatment. Could you open up for a day? Could I be the only one? Could I wear a mask? Whatever you want me to do, I just need this treatment." And they said, "We're just waiting on the governor, and when the governor says everything is completely, absolutely safe to open, we'll open, and we just hope you understand that." And the thing about that is when someone has Lyme disease, when their brain is being attacked, when their body is being attacked, they can't breathe. My mom has 14 children, so and she homeschools them all. You can't say, "Oh, I'm going to put my Lyme disease treatment on hold for 3 to 4 months and just pick up where I started." Every day without treatment is a couple months longer that she's going to suffer intensely from Lyme disease. So we did get that email, but they're saying, "Well, just wait on when Governor Evers decides to open and we'll let you know and you'll be fine until then." But we're not going to be fine until then.
Now, of course, Governor Evers and the Wisconsin Department of Health are saying that they're trying to keep closed certain businesses and facilities that aren't essential, at least what they deem aren't essential, to prevent the spread of this pandemic and virus. Now, if you could speak to the governor, what would you tell the governor about his order and how that affects your parents' Lyme disease treatment?
I mean, I would say so many things, but I guess concerning Lyme disease, I would say, how can you deem someone possibly getting the risk of a virus essential to close down a clinic and numerous small clinics that feel like they have to shut down that are giving people essential life affirming treatments every day? And saying you're the vulnerable generation or whatnot, I'm going to close down your clinic to protect you, but I'm actually harming you. I would point out that he isn't being consistent here and he isn't making sense and he's actually harming the people he claims to protect by closing things down.
Wow. And speaking about closures, I believe your father has been affected with his business. That's another aspect to this shutdown in the state. What's the situation been with your father and others that you know of who run and own their own small businesses?
So my father, he works for a small manufacturing company, and what they make a lot of different parts for, I mean, a lot of different companies, but one thing they do is they'll make pieces for soda machines. And A couple weeks ago, they had a couple thousand orders in place to make these Coke and Pepsi machines, and all those orders got canceled because the restaurants aren't giving them revenue and the customers, so they had to pull out their orders. And if this goes on one more month, they're not able to manufacture anything um, restaurant related. And not only that, they help make pieces for medical equipment, and those orders are being canceled as well. So their company isn't getting the business. They did a second wave of layoff, and a couple more weeks of this, they're not gonna have any revenue, and they're gonna have to completely shut down as well. And it's not even a small business. It's just a small company that is really being affected by this.
Absolutely. So, with you being also a pro-life activist, what are your thoughts about here in Wisconsin with abortion clinics, Planned Parenthood, and so forth, so-called abortion clinics, really the abortion mills, being open, yet treatments for Lyme disease and other medical clinics and offices being closed? What do you say about that?
My thought is it is a political agenda, and it's so clear for me. When the stay-at-home order was issued, the week after it was issued, I went to the abortion clinics as a sidewalk counselor, which is something I've been doing during this shutdown. Within the first hour, 18 young women walked into that clinic. Now, we had just received an order from Governor Evers saying you have to wear masks, you have to be social distancing, and only 10 people can be in a building at a time. And yet, seeing that they packed in 18 girls with a boyfriend or another girlfriend into a small waiting room was shocking to me. And not only that, within that week, pregnancy centers started to close down all over. Another life-affirming center that helps save lives being forced to shut down, but also being terrified that the public would call in the pregnancy centers and say, hey, you have more than 10 people in your clinic, and they would get lawsuits against them, while the abortion clinic continued to pack women in, and not only pack women in, but get even more revenue off of abortions from terrified, panicked couples. So it is a political agenda, and it's horrifying just to see that even more money, the abortion clinic industry is booming, while small businesses and small companies and small clinics are really suffering. The abortion clinics are really gaining more and more money off of this.
It's interesting that you mentioned how the young women rather, were packed into that small waiting room. Meanwhile, some of the clinics that are open, some of the medical facilities that are open, like, for example, urologist offices, like in Neenah, Wisconsin, one has to call a certain phone number before they can walk into the building to know if the waiting room area isn't full to capacity and people have to be seated. They're following the social distancing guidelines of the 6 feet apart in that one facility. But here we have this abortion facility, throughout the state rather, where they're putting them in small rooms. So if they're really trying to prevent spread of coronavirus, I guess coronavirus doesn't affect. It doesn't interact in the abortion mills, and nor does it travel around in the supermarkets that are open, while our churches and small businesses, of course, are closed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just another of Evers' huge inconsistencies that is going on, that the American people aren't interested in questioning. I mean, we should be questioning it. Why are abortion clinics open? Why are supermarkets open and small businesses closed? And it's quite alarming, just to be honest.
If the governor extends this order a few more weeks beyond May 26th or a month, how do you think that will be received by Wisconsinites throughout the state?
I think people at first, there's the first 4 weeks, even 6 weeks, people were like, I don't necessarily like this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to be safe. The more and more this is extended, and the more we see businesses shut down, our neighbors shutting down, farms being forced to sell their cattle and dump product, people are going to wake up and see that this isn't okay. This is a political agenda. This is an infringement on our freedom, and people are going to rise up. And I believe that so strongly because we look at history and we see every time the American people are suppressed, we take action. And it is discouraging to see so many people stay silent and indifferent on this issue. But the longer it goes, the more people are going to speak out. And that's what I firmly believe. That's what I have to believe during this time.
Absolutely. Well, we wish and send our prayers, of course, to your family, your sister, and your mother, and those in your family who are receiving the Lyme disease treatment. Of course, to your father with the business he works manufacturing those parts for those machines. So God bless you, Lizzie. Take care, and thank you for being with us here today on the program.